So you must be wondering, what is stealing the sun? Well, it all started when I was feeling overwhelmed and I felt like I had tried everything that I could have tried to help my situation, but it wasn't working. On that day, I had the urge to go sit in the sun and feel the warmth. I knew I wasn't going to fix my problems I also knew it would make me feel a bit better in the situation. I knew I needed that moment to pause and live in the moment. I've also realized when things are going wrong, I tend to draw back to moments in my life when I was in a good space, and I try to replicate that feeling. Not the exact moments, but the little things like going on walks, the food I associate with that moment, or the music. I'm getting overlapped. And in this instance, it was the sun. For some reason, I kept on remembering times in high school, in between classes during the winter, like either during break time or lunch, or like walking, like the little breaks between each class while we're waiting for the teacher to let us in or the other class to come out, where we would stand out in the sun and just soak it up. Sometimes we'd stand there and have conversations, or sometimes we'd just stand there and enjoy the moment. And I remember how good that felt and how comforting that was.
After the rain comes the rainbow. The rain comes the rainbow. So you will cry.
Okay, so back to how I came up with the idea of stealing the sun. So I went to a park and I sat down and soaked up the sun. And in that moment, I started meditating. Once I came back to the realization of the world around me, I looked around and I saw people were doing the same thing, soaking up the sun. Some intentionally came out to do that, like either they were sunbathing, while others decided to stop and do it while walking or after exercising. So like some were stretching and all that jazz. I looked around and realized that we were all here because of the sun. The why might have been different, but the common factor was the sun. And this, my beautiful people, is how and why the idea of stealing this is where the idea of stealing the sun was birthed. I started thinking about what the sun means to me and how I could depict those feelings. I also had been constantly drawing the sun in my work, but never really thought of the why, so I felt like it was a good time to look into that. But I'd also like to add, I'm speaking about the sun literally and figuratively sometimes, because I feel like the sun can mean the actual sun or can be something else, like for you and for me. And I feel like it can also change for me. When I started this, the sun was literally the actual sun, but throughout this process and like through life, through living, through my trials and tribulations, I realized that the sun has changed. It's not the sun anymore, it's figurative. With all that being said, I decided I am going to be so intentional about these paintings. That's why I sat down, or I kneeled down, and just wrote everything I associated with the sun, and what color I'm gonna pick, what I'm gonna name it. The first thought that came to mind was hope. I think I thought of hope firstly because, I was going out into the sun, hoping for that feeling. So whatever your sun is or whatever you're stealing, you're hoping for an outcome. And I think this is why I decided to name it hope. And then in terms of color choice, I chose orange because it's bright, it's warm, it's like the sun. And as for the hands, I think I decided to draw hands because I wanted it to be something that you can reach, something that's attainable. Because with hope, it can be, it feels like off in the distance, but with your hands there, it's like you can hold on to it, or you're reaching out to it. I don't know, it makes it, for me, it just brings it closer, and that's why I decided to draw hands. And I also think that I'm pretty good at drawing hands. I wanted to see if I can paint hands, if I'm good at painting hands, and I think I did a good job, if I do say so myself. And now back to the color of the hands. I chose a similar color for the hands to the background because I don't want the hands to be like seem like a foreign concept. Back to the idea of it's within the same environment, it's reachable, it's attainable. Therefore, hope, like you're close, it's right there, you know. The nails, I just needed like a pop of color because it's all about the color, you know. And I hope it's doing its job. I hope it's evoking the feelings it's supposed to evoke. Bruh, I had to give a moment of silence for the reveal, my reveal. Now, if you're new here, welcome. I was gonna say now, flowers. It's a element of ByChabz. I have to draw flowers. Or should I rather say a characteristic of ByChabz? If there are no flowers, okay, it either has to be flowers, patterns, bright colors, and hands. And if you don't see any of those things, it's not done by me. But back to what I was saying, back to the flowers. But in this case, I feel like the flowers are perfect because once again, it represents hope. And hope is something delicate, like a flower. Like, you don't want to lose it, but you want to hold on to it, but you don't want to hold on too tight and crush it and break it. So I felt like flowers was a perfect thing to draw over her. And once again, all these things, like I draw flowers, hands on the iPad, which is all digital, and I just wanted to see how it would translate onto the canvas. Also, I wanted to say, if you've made it this far, you are still here, you are a real one, and I appreciate you. Down in the comments, if you feel like the flowers or anything else, like the color or something, like if you see it in a different way or you think it represents something else, put it down in the comment section. I am so intrigued to see like how you're interpreting this. The other thing I wanted to add, which you'll see just now in a little bit, is that I added like elements of the sun. So I feel like there are two ways that I represent sun rays. So like with the triangles and like the swirly pattern, that's a sun ray, and like the big rectangular lines, those are sun rays as well. And obviously because we're still in the sun and it's the sun, so like throughout my paintings I have those elements. I also feel like the sun rays make it feel magical, and so basically if you've got hope and you're holding on to hope, it's something special, so you might wanna hold on to that. Okay, this next part is for the ASMRers. I'm gonna give you some tape pulling mixed with YouTube kids in the background. Beautiful people, that is it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram. I'm gonna post hope up on there if you want to see it up close and personal. Not up close and personal, but you know, closer look. Bye.
Here's a tour of the painting. Here's the hand, and some, I think those are rulers, and then some shapes. That's that, and then there's just white on the background. That's the end of the tour. Bye.